Have you ever felt stuck, like your life is on pause and you're just waiting for the impossible to happen? What if I told you that faith, like the superhero The Flash, Barry Allen, and in his becoming the Flash, is about believing in what you can't see before acting on something that really manifests? You see, these things come from our pop culture. And today we're going to be going into becoming the impossible so that you can transform your faith in life. And you can do it just like Barry Allen. This is not something that is just for other people, this is for anybody. And you can see it in a show like the CW, The Flash. And I'm Reverend Kevin, and this is Wisdom Fragments. And sometimes our fragments come from pop culture like the CW, and sometimes they come from the Bible. And today is going to be a little bit of both. So the idea of the Flash is becoming the impossible. This is kind of the theme of the entire show. It had 9 seasons of this. And the thing is, it's all about growth and transformation. And at the very beginning, he's been seeking the impossible. He's the CSI guy. And he goes out looking for the impossible all the time. And then this accident happens. And he becomes the impossible. And so this is just like spiritual growth. You see, in our spiritual nature, we need to have growth and transformation. And a lot of times, things can't be seen when we do it. And a lot of times, we have no idea what's going on. This is kind of the idea of walking by faith and not by sight. And so in Hebrews, we see now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance in what we don't see. You see, what we are hoping for, we can't always see what's going on behind the scenes. Nothing is really as it seems. And so when we don't see something showing up or manifesting in our lives, we think something's wrong, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't believe in it. And it's the power of belief that changes all of this. And I think one of the things that we have trouble with is we think that faith is passive. It's something that we have. It's something that we have inside our bodies. And if we just hope enough and we just sit around and do nothing, it'll happen. But you see, faith is not just something you have, it's something you do. So you actually have to engage with faith through actions, even when you are doubting. And so, you see, the thing is that the Flash didn't just become the Flash. He had to believe in everything. He had to believe he was chosen. He had to believe that he could do it, that he could be a hero and not just some guy that was in an accident. And just like the Flash in that first season, he didn't have immediate results. He kind of fumbled around for those first like almost the entire season before he finally got it. And so we need to take our faith-filled action, and even if we're not seeing immediate results, we just have to know and trust, because faith is a lot about trusting and trust that it will happen. And I'm going to go to the Epistle of James here. So for those that don't know, a lot of Protestants hate the Epistle of James, and this is why. Because in James it says, in the same way, faith by itself is accompanied by action. Faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. So in other words, faith without works is dead. But what people don't understand is this has nothing to do with salvation. This has to do with you are not using your faith. If you're not using your faith, it's not doing anything. It's given to you. You need to use it. It's a gift. It's not something that saves you in heaven. It's something that you can use in the here and now. And you see, I want to go into one of the things that is really profound in The Flash. So there are multiple episodes where The Flash loses his powers, but this is one I think that really ties into the idea of belief. There was one bad guy that was able to just suck his powers away, and he was desperately trying to get them back. So for those that don't know, his powers are he can run incredibly fast. And in season 1, he is able to run at 37 miles an hour, I think Mach 1.1. So when he runs by, he runs like you see like a streak of lightning. He hasn't been slow in months, and so he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know who he is without his powers. And so they were going to try to jumpstart his powers and bring it back. And his friend Caitlin is right by him, and she doesn't want to do it because she's worried. And he says to her, "I." They tell me I was chosen by the lightning. I don't know what I believe, but then and then he says, "It doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what you believe." And then later, nothing is happening, and he's just. It seems like it's all mental. It's not physical on why he doesn't have powers. It's like he has the powers within, but he can't use them. And then Caitlin tells him, "You asked me if I believe and that you were chosen." And she says, "I believe, and you should too." So this reminds me of the Gospel of Mark. And the thing is that we hear about, I believe, but help me become my unbelief. And I think a lot of people don't really see that when people are talking with Jesus, the belief is not 100%. Um, Unbelief is kind of like not using your own power. And so the heart of this message is becoming the impossible, and it's a process. You can't just do it. And I think if you're experiencing doubt, um, you're experiencing a time of spiritual void, a time of stagnation. This is not something to be afraid of. This is something that is going to help you to become. This is going to help you to get better, to be stronger in your faith. You know, Mystics are not born overnight. People that we call saints are not born overnight. They had a entire process. So I want you to reflect on your own journey. And what are the impossible things you are overcoming? I'd like to know. Tell me about them. Challenging times they're just struggles, aren't they? I'm going through one right now because my wife and I moved to California, and it's been quite an adjustment, 2,000 miles away. And so, just as Barry has this transformation, remember that God is working through you just like he was through the Flash. And remember, you're becoming the impossible, even if you can't see it. And this process is from action through faith, not just from faith alone. And it will happen. You will be transformed. You will become the impossible.